From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Daniels Roofing, licensed, bonded, insured roofing contractor. 45 years of generational expertise, offering a variety of roofing systems in the North State. Composition shingles, metal, tile, fire-safe wood shingles, and spray foam roofing systems. An energy-saving cool roof, perfect for commercial flat roofs and mobile homes. With other companies, you may get a foreman or a salesman, but with Daniels Roofing, you get Daniel. Call today for your free estimate. Daniels Roofing, 3 generations working hard to protect your home and business.
Good morning, everyone. Well, coming up here soon is the A.J. Lee and Blue Summit concert presented by Cascade Theater on November 1st. That's Saturday, November 1st. Be sure to get your tickets on sale now because those will go fast. They are an amazing band. They're actually semi-local from the Santa Cruz area, kind of that bluegrass feel to it. So grab yours today at cascadetheater.org. before those tickets sell out. All right, let's go and take a look at the headlines out there this morning. Now, here's the thing. We got cooler conditions with clouds and a few showers today. Now, I say cooler. It's not going to be cool outside. You'll just notice temperatures aren't going to be quite as warm. There's going to be more cloud cover out there, and there may even be a few showers. I anticipate most of those will be east of the valley, but even parts of the valley, yes, even the valley could see a sprinkle or two, but nothing significant. It will be significantly cooler this weekend. Rain arrives for really Friday night for most of us through the weekend. And then going into next week, looking fairly dry and mild. So we've got a bit to talk about in that deeper dive forecast. But first, here is your Krueger's Quickcast for your Wednesday, October 22nd. All right, so out the door this morning, you're going to be dealing with the clouds. Now, there could be a stray sprinkle here and there for parts of the valley. And I would say that most of those sprinkles and the best chances will be in, say, Tehama, Glenn, and Butte counties. Slimmer chances as you head north. There could be some sprinkles out towards some of the eastern mountains as well. Even Paradise, for example, could see some of that activity. Otherwise, fog and dry, mainly dry for the coast, maybe some of that drizzle out there. So really, we've got 2 areas of clouds that are heading our way. One coming in from the west. That will give us a little bit of cloud cover, but really the main impact is the one coming in from the south. And you see a bit of that spin and even some rain that's associated with that. That's moving in closer. Let's take a look at the radar for the last 12 hours. And you can see those showers just kind of working their way up the spine. But if you look closely, you'll also see some of those showers trying to work their way into parts of the valley and even in the eastern mountains. So we could see that here throughout the morning and even into the afternoon. So this is looking at the HRRR forecast model. It updates every hour. It takes the current radar and then projects from there. So let's take you through the day today. And you see, especially as I mentioned, Glenn and Butte counties certainly have that chance. And then we could see some development here late morning into the afternoon for places east of the valley, in particular Lassen and Plumas counties. But you see how in the mountains of Tehama and even Butte County could possibly see a little bit of that activity, and then it kind of works its way back down to the south. So even this afternoon, some of those could turn into a sprinkle or two for parts like Chico and Oroville. Now, is this enough to cancel any outdoor plans over? No. The main thing you will notice, in particular for the valley, will be the added cloud cover and cooler temperatures as a result. So for today, there are those cooler temperatures, right? But still very pleasant, mid to upper 70s for the valley. I'm expecting temperatures in the 60s and 70s for the higher elevations and low to mid 60s for the coast. So taking a look at that 7-day forecast, it's dry through Friday. Then by Friday night into Saturday, showers. And then we'll dry things out again for Monday, Tuesday. Significantly cooler, too, back down to the low 60s over the weekend. We take a look at the coast. Chance for showers by Friday evening, Friday night. That's also the case for Inland and for Trinity County. Showers throughout the weekend. We take a look at Siskiyou, Modoc County, and the eastern mountains. You're also dry for today through Friday, although, as I mentioned, maybe Susanville could see a stray shower later this morning and even in the afternoon. But better chances for those showers and measurable rainfall come Saturday and Sunday. All right, that's a look at your Krueger's Quickcast. Let's get into that deeper dive, shall we? Because, yeah, you've been hearing the term atmospheric river, and we're really going to kind of break that down and how, it's not going to be a major event. A lot of times, atmospheric river, especially because the media has really hijacked the phrase, when we hear the term atmospheric river, a lot of people tend to freak out because they think it's going to be a lot of rain. In some cases, that can happen, but not always. All right, we'll talk about that in more detail here in a second. But first, let's talk about what's going on. Area of low pressure here. I talked about this yesterday. You just couldn't see it too much. Now it's grabbing in a little bit more moisture, and we're seeing clouds as a result as it moves on shore. But we also have this cold front right here. This is approaching. It's not going to bring us any rainfall, folks, just some cloud cover. It's this one behind it. This is the one that we got to watch here. That'll be here by Friday night into Saturday. There it is, right here. There's that storm system. So as that moves off to the east, look what's happening. A couple of things. It's gaining strength and holding on to its strength. But there's that characteristic of an atmospheric river, so it's tapping into that moisture. Now, I do think we're going to see some heavy rainfall come Friday night, early Saturday morning for the North Coast. The coast in particular, but many of the inland areas, Trinity County, western Siskiyou County, seeing heavy rainfall at this point. But then as we'd expect, as this all shifts to the south and moves eastward, it's going to break apart and won't be as impressive for the valley, but may shoot back up those mountains east of the valley and squeeze out more moisture with some heavier rainfall east of the valley, at least parts of the areas east of the valley. So that's Friday night into Saturday morning. This right here is Saturday afternoon, right? You see how it's not terribly strong? And then there's more energy off to the west here that's going to bring us more showers come Sunday. And you'll notice there's some snow in there, but I'd still say fairly high, probably on average 5,000 feet, give or take, just depending on where you are. That's Sunday, still those showers, right? Then you can see we're drying out by Monday, Tuesday, most of the energy being pushed to our north. Now, some of the models want to bring in maybe still a chance for a stray shower on Monday, but I'm going to keep the chance for rain out of the forecast on Monday and even Tuesday of next week for now. All right, let's talk about that atmospheric river you're hearing about. Okay, let's get this into a little bit more detail. Here it is, right? This is by definition an atmospheric river, a thin, narrow column of moisture in the jet stream that transports moisture from the subtropics. Sometimes people have in the past called it Pineapple Express or Coconut Connection. Why? Well, there's Hawaii, and a lot of times that's where kind of that moisture source is, and it streams right in. Now, you probably heard the term or expression, it's like aiming a hose right at Northern California, and that certainly is the case. But just how much water is being released from that hose depends on how much moisture there is and how strong it is and how long it sticks around too. If you take a hose and held it there for several hours, yeah, you're going to get a ton of water on whatever it is you've got it aimed at. Sometimes these can last a day, they can stay for 2 days, even 3 days, and that's when you see flooding. Look what happens. There's where it is, midnight, so Friday night to Saturday morning, look what happens. It very quickly throughout the day on Saturday shifts to the south. So the main impacts will be when it's hitting you, yeah, okay, for the coast, but then as it shifts southward, not as much of an impact. And then really we just got the leftover moisture over the weekend giving us more off and on showers. So we talk about the intensity of the atmospheric river. 5 being the strongest, 1 being the weakest. Look where we are. We're mainly within the weak to moderate category, okay? Now that's for the coast. This is important to take note. Could there be the potential for some minor flooding, brief periods of flooding in places like northern Humboldt, Del Norte County? It is a possibility. When you start getting into the green category here, atmospheric river 2, it's known as beneficial rain with some hazards, okay? And that certainly could be the case here. But take a look at the inland as you start heading inland, so kind of over the mountains. Mainly within the AR1 category. What that means is it's just beneficial rainfall and most likely won't see any hazards like flooding. All right, so for the coast, North Coast in general, including the inland areas of, say places like Hoopa, for example, have the potential to see some pretty heavy rainfall. But then as you start heading more and more inland, the effects of that atmospheric river aren't quite as high. All right, so I just kind of wanted to bring that up because atmospheric rivers, you hear the expression, but not all are created equal. All right, so let's take a look at Futurecast. Let's walk you through the timing of all this. I think I might be overdoing it with how far north this comes. I'd say the best chances will be in Glenn and Butte counties, maybe even Tehama County today. Enough to cancel any outdoor plans? No. You just may run into a sprinkle or two. And then more off to the east, and we've just mainly got the mostly cloudy skies and dry conditions elsewhere. The coast, of course, the clouds, right? 5 p.m. today. Most of it's off to the east, Lassen, Plumas counties, but even the mountains of Tehama and Butte County could see some showers this afternoon. Some of those may try to roll down into the valley, so Red Bluff, Corning, Chico, Willows, right? But as you start heading north of that, those chances are a little bit slimmer. So yeah, if you run into a stray sprinkle or a light shower this afternoon, even in the valley, don't be surprised, but it's not going to dampen any of those outdoor plans. And then Thursday, looks like we're dry. We still got the low clouds and fog along the coast kind of hovering there. Through Friday morning, we're still dry. We've got the clouds moving in still for the coast. But look at this behind me. This is that storm system we were just looking at. This is the storm system tapping into a good source of moisture. So 5 p.m., we're just beginning to see some of that rainfall for Del Norte County. But that's it. Everyone else still dry through most of the day, right? Now let's go into Friday night into Saturday morning. This is midnight. Remember, we were looking at that atmospheric river. There it is. So look at all of that moisture. Look at that heavy rainfall that we do have. And the typical spots that we see the heaviest rainfall with these types of events. Northwestern California typically includes all of Del Norte, western Siskiyou County, maybe northwestern parts of Trinity County, and northern to even parts of central Humboldt County as well. This is where we're seeing the most amount of rainfall. Now, remember we were talking about that atmospheric river shifting southward. You can see that already by 8 a.m. Now it's right here. We're seeing less behind that. So this is where that main flow of moisture is. It's riding up the mountains, but we tend to get shadowed, but then it rides back up these mountains here, and you squeeze out more moisture as a result. So there will be pockets of heavy rainfall, maybe even a few lightning strikes as we go through the day on Saturday. But now, the atmospheric river I was just talking about, now it's down to our south. And what we're dealing with here is just kind of a more cooler and unsettled pattern here, giving us more scattered showers here as we go through Saturday night and even through the day on Sunday, which, by the way, snow levels on average, give or take, will be about 5,000 feet Saturday and Sunday. So we take a look at the rainfall totals, and there it is. It's coming on in. Now, keep in mind, this is only taking us through Saturday night. It's not including what we're going to see on Sunday. Now, it may be underplaying here for the valley. The valley, it's showing here, you're lucky if you get 1/10 of an inch of rainfall. And honestly, we're talking maybe 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of rainfall. Not a lot of rainfall for the valley. So again, you're hearing the phrase atmospheric river. Oh yeah, they're feeling it in Crescent City. They're feeling it in Eureka, Hoopa, Etna, right? But the valley, not feeling it so much. So that's why it's important for you to understand and pay attention to where this atmospheric river is going to impact the most. Okay? You can go with this general term, atmospheric river, to hit Northern California. Yeah, it is hitting Northern California, but it's not impacting everybody the same, is it? And that's why it's very important you get your weather information from a reliable source that knows what they're talking about. And they're not just trying to get clicks on social media. All right? All right, I'm off my high horse, but I just wanted to express here, this is where most of the rainfall is. And again, keep in mind, these are not the exact totals of numbers. We may see more than 2 inches of rain, even through Saturday night in Crescent City, Del Norte County. I mean, these oranges and reds, I mean, you're getting into the 3 to even 4 inch range. And we could see that in some areas here, but then you see less and less as you start heading down to the south and to the east. All right, so that's why I'm talking about that slim potential for some flooding, especially the creeks and streams and rivers, right? So that's something we'll have to watch here, especially out towards the northwest. All right, winds. As that storm system approaches on Friday, the winds will begin to pick up here, but not necessarily today or tomorrow. Not that concerned about the winds, but then again, you can see there by the time we get into Friday night, Saturday morning, now we're starting to see those winds really begin to kind of ramp up. They kind of pick up, especially over the mountain ridge tops, but even parts of the valley can see some gusty winds here through the day on Saturday. Then by Saturday night, the winds will start to subside and possibly into Sunday as well. Let's talk about the temperatures. Because yes, it's cooling off a little bit here, but generally upper 70s in the valley, big drop in our temperatures over the weekend. We're talking barely struggling to get out of the 50s by Sunday, but then back into the low 70s here as we take you into early next week. Hey, let's take a look at those lake levels, and you can see here that we're still above that historical average, and that's really what you want to see, and we're not seeing a very big drop in those lake levels the last 24 hours either. Beach hazard statement has now been extended to noon today for all of the coast. It's that risk for those sneaker waves. Taking a look at this afternoon, those wave heights are showing signs of subsiding a little bit here, but then as we go into Thursday and Friday, they'll probably start to ramp back up again with that approaching storm system. South winds at about 5 to 10 knots. Your waves from the west at 13 feet at about 16 seconds. Small current advisory through this afternoon. Here's your neighborhood forecast, sponsored in part by Dignity Health. Let's get you right into it. Temperatures are going to be in the low to mid 70s for most of us in Trinity County. Dry today, tomorrow, and maybe some of those showers coming in Friday night, and then off and on showers through the weekend. Your Dignity Health North Coast neighborhood forecast, dry through Friday night into Saturday. That's the case really for all of us. The rain will first hit Del Norte County and then work its way southward as we go into Friday night and early Saturday morning. Your Dignity Health Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. So I've got you dry through Friday, but keep in mind places like Fort Jones, Happy Camp, Etna, you may see some by the evening hours on Friday into Friday night, and then it will start to work its way eastward as we go into early Saturday morning. Modoc County, you're dry through Friday. It's not until, say, Saturday morning you start to see some of that rain, showers throughout the weekend. Snow levels between 5,000 and 6,000 feet. Eastern Mountains, you're dry through Friday as well, with the exception of today, right? Because I think we're going to see some stray showers here this afternoon with that system coming in from the south, and then dry Thursday and Friday. There's a look at your Dignity Health Valley neighborhood forecast of the south, maybe a sprinkle or a light shower for all of these areas here, especially, say, I-5 eastward. Is it enough to cancel outdoor plans? No, but you're driving around, you may need to use that windshield wiper once or twice. Take a look at that 7-day forecast for Chico. There's those mostly cloudy skies, maybe a chance for a sprinkle or a light shower today. Overnight lows in the low 50s. Daytime highs dropping down to the low 60s by Sunday. You've got those scattered showers off and on through the day on Saturday and Sunday. Now, could we see a stray shower or sprinkle for the north end of the valley? Chances are slimmer. I think it's just going to notice the cloud cover out there and slightly cooler temperatures as a result. Take a look at that 7-day forecast for Redding. And we're looking at those temperatures in the low 60s by the time we do get into Saturday, upper 50s by Sunday. Temperatures start to increase and dry out as we go into Monday and Tuesday of next week. That is your morning update. I'll be back again at noon for the latest check of your forecast. Have a great morning.